They're in the heart of the Pacific, the world's widest ocean. Around them lie the 300 islands of the Fiji group. Islands once protected by treacherous coral reefs and by inhabitants who often ate those that did make it ashore. Cook and Tasman sailed as close as they dared. William Bligh, cast adrift from the Bounty, was chased and almost caught and eaten here. Then came the missionaries, one of whom was eaten. And later, much later in 1945, when it was perfectly safe to do so, another explorer came this way, Edmund Hillary. He loved Fiji and vowed he'd soon return, unaware that his life would soon be centered far from here, in the Himalayas and in Antarctica. But now, at the age of 64, he's back, along with two old climbing companions, Jim Wilson and Mike Gill, and their families. 10 people, 3 generations, are off to share a journey Hillary's been dreaming about for years. On Fiji's main island, they'll attempt a challenging peak, and then by every imaginable means, they'll ride a river to the ocean. Then they'll sail the ocean to the outer islands, and there too come face to face with all the excitement and variety of Fiji. The journey, Hillary hopes, will have a very special ending. He hopes to end this journey on the ocean floor, scuba diving for the first time in his life. Scuba diving astride the 180th parallel, where east meets west, where the sun first rises on each new day. First, there's a peak to be climbed, a 1,500-foot high volcanic spire called Joskes' Thumb. A peak Hillary's been trying to climb for almost 40 years. He was 26 years old when he first trod this path, intent on climbing Joskes' Thumb. But on that occasion, to his great dismay, he failed to reach the top. Since then, he's climbed Earth's highest peak, journeyed overland to the South Pole, and done much else besides. But all the while, for almost 40 years, that great big thumb's been beckoning him back, and he won't rest content until the summit's his.
I'd like to think I could still get there, even though I was a great deal younger when I first tried. On that first attempt in 1945, we had a clothesline for a rope and only a vague idea of the route. But after many false leads, we finally made it to a cave a few hundred feet below the summit. The same cave we'll be sleeping in tonight. But on that occasion, it was pouring with rain, and we couldn't see any way of scaling the cliffs ahead on a clothesline in the rain. But ever since, I felt rather disappointed that I hadn't been able to reach the top. And I hope tomorrow I can make it at last.
That looks steep.
Looks pretty slippery to me.
If we go around this ledge, though, past the tree there, might be easy.
Yeah. I know for me that these final few hundred feet are going to be a bit of a struggle. And in the back of my mind, I'm a little worried that I might have left my run a few years too late. It's really good to be climbing with someone as strong and experienced as Jim Wilson. It's a big climb for Jim's sons, Guy and Steve, but they have a lot of ability, and I know they're just as keen as I am to make the top. And I think we have a reasonable chance now, if the rain holds off.
The rain that caused Hillary to abandon his climb some 40 years ago now threatens to do so again. But there's no thought of it. They'll put up with the rain, take care on wet rock. The teenagers on their first big climb, the grandfather on his last, have just 50 slippery feet to go. The climb he began half a lifetime ago is over.
Talk about mud and club. Only took 40 years.
40 years.
Sir Edmund Hillary, 65 next birthday, can retire a contented man.
Never mind. A hot bath will be
First we have to get down.
easy. Just jump, we'll be all right.
The rain that almost cost them Joskes' thumb can now be turned to their advantage. Reassembled and resupplied, they're ready now for their next challenge, riding the rainwater all the way to the ocean.
I really enjoy the exhilaration of rubber rafting, although I wouldn't say I'm quite so keen when the exhilaration becomes all-out panic. But really it's amazing how sturdy these rafts are, and you know there's a very good chance you will make it down alive, no matter what.
There's a big one.
Ahead for a while, quieter waters. But the sense of anticipation remains. For soon, around a few more bends, the villages begin. The history books speak of wars and cannibal feasts, and of a chief who so loved his fellow man that he ate 1,000 of them over the course of his lifetime. But now, it's smiles and tea and cakes from the local church choir, and friendliness unbounded. They've entered the world of the Fijian village. And from here to the sea, nothing will be quite the same. From now on, they'll do things the native way with their newfound village friends. In boats of bamboo grass called billy-billies.
Yeah! Pretty good.
Ahead of them now, the swift-flowing Waianga Gorge. And it will take some skillful poling to get them safely through. through the gorge now. 30 miles to go to the sea. Ahead, the Rewa River, largest river in Fiji. And for a river twice the size, they'll build boats twice the size. And they'll build them in a day. They were common once, these bamboo, vine and cane leaf boats, laden with bananas bound for market. But the banana trade's declined. Roads have opened, and boats like these are rarely seen these days. So it's an exciting time for everyone, the boat builders included. They were bound for the river mouth anyway, to sing in a church choir competition. And how good it is to be travelling by bamboo instead of by bus.
Chulu chululu ela madue, chulu chululu ela madue. Shalela shimaya, shalela shimaya, bebe la madue. Mai vanu abatu, sakatana namu. Mai vanu abatu, sakatana namu. Selange mulai.
There's no cause for panic. No one's on the menu. Bamboo boats aren't about to be scuttled by bamboo guns. These once bloody war clubs, the salutes of these unique kerosene vapor-powered guns, are just the village of Vatakarasa's traditional way of welcoming an honored guest. They'd read of Hillary in their school books, read of his feats on that strange substance, snow. And here he is, climbing out of their school books and into their village. Soon they can all relax and get to know each other. But first, a few more formalities. They're preparing for Hillary a drink called yangona, or kava. It's made from the root of a pepper plant. The root isn't chewed by village maidens and spat into the bowl as it used to be. Now it's crushed in advance by machine, then hand-mixed with pure water. The end result, a drink with a muddy, peppery taste, and after effects that include a numbness of the mouth and tongue. The numbness extending to the brain when it's drunk in excess.
Oh.
To break the ice, hopefully nothing more, an international rugby match, with Hillary's team kindly matched against the least lethal team in the village, the under-17s. Rugby football's a passion in Fiji, and so fearsome is their reputation as players, that to have played the village champions might well have meant the premature end of the expedition. Next item on the program, a demonstration of the local children's second favorite sport, toad smoking. It's not an attempt to eradicate them. The toads are in plague proportions, and attempts to eradicate them failed years ago. No, the local children think the toads genuinely enjoy it, and there seems to be no enjoyment more infectious.
So we shook hands together, and then Tenzing put his arms around my shoulder to give me a hug, and I put my arms around him. And so we were very happy indeed to be on top.
What was it like to climb the mountain?
Well, climbing at high altitude is very different from climbing, say, in Fiji, because when you're high at high altitude, the air is very thin. There's not much oxygen. So you have to breathe very deeply. So climbing at high altitude is hard work. And sometimes you wish that you could go back to the bottom of the mountain again.
It's more than 30 years now since my Everest climb. And looking back on everything I've done, I'm convinced that the expeditions that leave the most lasting memories are the kind we're on now. We're having our physical adventures, our moments of excitement. Yet at the same time, we're having our cultural adventures as well, getting to know the Fijian people. I think these are the best experiences of all, when you combine cultural interest with a good, solid adventure.
It's one of those mornings that breed contentment and melt away plans and schedules. But the river mouth is still miles away, and there is a yacht to catch to the outer islands. And while they've still the strength to do so, they must sadly say farewell. It's a busy river now, these final few miles to the ocean. There's salt in the water, and perhaps a shark or two, so no more swimming, say the boatmen. Soon they'll sight the river mouth, and Fiji's capital, Suva. Their setting-off place for the outer islands is now just hours away. Nearby, someone else's journey's just beginning. One that will linger in Hillary's mind as vividly as his own journey. Those involved are Indians, and curiously, Indians are the predominant race in Fiji. For last century, in need of labor for the sugarcane fields, Fiji's colonial rulers recruited in India, and thousands came. But amongst the Indian majority, these men are very much a minority. Few others would have the faith and sheer courage to do what they're about to do. To prepare for what's ahead, they've come to ritually cleanse themselves and to make offerings to the particular Hindu goddess they worship, Draupadi, goddess of fire. 2 miles away she stands, in wait for her devotees. Already ablaze in front of her image, 46 tons of wood. Mangrove wood, said to produce the greatest heat, the hottest embers. To reach the goddess, to merge their minds with hers, the devotees have vowed to walk this sacred fire. At the seaside, the preparations continue. Quickly now, they must summon all the spiritual strength they can. And not just for the waiting fire pit. For first, they must endure these silver skewers, a preliminary test of their devotion. They cry out the name of their gods, appealing for strength and assurance. And mysteriously, there is no pain and no blood. One of them is fitted with a sulam, a 5-foot silver wire representing the snake god, Nag Devta. Another, dressed as the goddess Kali, will lead them to the fire pit. All day now the fire has burnt. Burnt to a bed of embers so hot that even this Hillary finds uncomfortably close. What can it be, he wonders, that drives them on so calmly to their ordeal? Some do it to thank the goddess for favors already bestowed. Some seeking favors do it to demonstrate their faith. Some to atone for past misdeeds do it as a form of purification. But all share one thing in common: an unquestioning faith in the protective power of Draupadi, goddess of fire. The moment is almost upon them. 10 days of fasting, abstinence and prayer has prepared them. The exhaustion of the march, the chanting, the hypnotic rhythm of the drums has prepared them. Their minds see not embers, but a soft bed of marigold flowers. And beyond that, the goddess, the source of their power. Has protected them. There are no burns, no blisters. Once more, her power has been affirmed, and in jubilation, they raise her high. Explored just one island, Fiji's largest, Viti Levu. But ahead lie hundreds more. Limestone islands, volcanic islands, coral islands. Treasure islands too, some say. And ahead, an island called Benga, where once it's said lived elves, who taught the inhabitants the secret of walking on hot stones. The men preparing the fire pit have heard the tale since childhood. How one of their ancestors hunting eels in a mountain stream caught not an eel, but an elf. The elf pleaded that its life be spared and offered any gift in exchange. Their ancestor chose this one, power over fire. The grateful elf told him what to do to avoid burnt feet. 3 things: abstain from women and coconuts for several days beforehand, keep pregnant women away from the fire pit, and most important of all, imagine the stones to be anything other than what they are. For what they are, in fact, are very hot stones, recently scientifically measured at 1700 degrees Fahrenheit. Thrilled by their newfound power, the men of Benga kept their promise and freed the elf. And as he fled, he must have offered a few quick hints on how to safely cook themselves as well. Legend it may be, yet they always survive, not even slightly steamed or fried. Ship's log 0900. Third day out of Suva. Sighted another island, a storybook island. Decided to stop here, possibly forever.
Well, this has been the moment we've really been looking forward to. Our first idyllic tropical island. I suppose we all occasionally dream of places like this. Even mountaineers do. But when you're up to your waist in snow and it's blowing a blizzard, the place you'd rather be looks remarkably like this. I must admit I'm not finding it much of a struggle to be perfectly content here.
On the island they thought deserted, they find they're in fact outnumbered by one of the most abundant seabirds of the South Pacific. They do have a name, but it should be said softly, lest they be offended. They're boobies. Red-footed boobies. Who would imagine why a bird so swift that it can pluck flying fish out of the sky, so smart that it can dive bomb the ocean and pursue fish more than 50 feet underwater, should have been lumbered with a name like Booby? But they have, and that's that. And right now, they've other, more important things to brood upon.
Hey, she's got eggs. Oh, no wonder she wants to stay on the nest. Can you see them, Ed?
Yeah, there's one egg there.
Yeah, there might be others. So it looks about the size of a small hen's egg. What colour? Weakish white. You know, not sort of full-blooded white.
It's especially good to see the younger ones getting so much out of this trip. Of course, our adventures have been modest ones. We haven't exactly been climbing Everest every day. But a lot of little adventures can be just as stimulating as a few big ones. The size of the adventure isn't important. The important thing is that they have them. The thing I really like about small-scale adventures is that there needn't be any age limit, and that's good to know when you're 64. For me, the undersea world has been a tremendous new discovery, and though I wouldn't say I've quite attained Jacques Cousteau's standard, I do get considerable pleasure from just being here.
Thomas Gill doesn't know it, but a great moment lies just ahead. He's about to make the discovery of his lifetime. This curious creature provides a clue. It's a sea slug, also known as a bêche de mer. They're a delicacy in China, and once fetched such high prices that they became one of the main reasons for early commercial interest in Fiji. These sea slugs brought the trading ships, and they brought all the refinements of Western civilization. They guess it must have been here for 100 to 150 years. But where it came from, how it got here, is a puzzle, with most of the pieces missing. For there's no wreck debris or any other clues nearby, no record in the history books. So all they can do is speculate, and that can be fun enough.
I think it's a lining of brass.
Hey, yeah! Gold.
And Thomas
Gotta be at
Gill,
least.
its proud discoverer, who's had to miss weeks of history lessons to be here, will certainly give a loud report when he gets back to class. And now they set a new course. For of all they've so far experienced in Fiji, the happiest of many happy memories have been of people. So the next stop they decide will be at one of Fiji's 100 or so inhabited islands. Their landfall's a popular fishing spot on Oneato, one of the most easterly Fijian islands.
Look up on your back.
This is good eating, this fish?
Yeah.
Good eating.
Very good.
All these good eating, Alex.
That's good.
And you spared it.
As small boys, they swam these same waters, tiny spears in their hands, practicing. Now they're masters of the coral reef, able to use their food-gathering skills on almost any target, however swift and small. It's as though they've re-evolved as aquatic animals, at home here, as in the air above. Depths of 100 feet are not beyond their reach, and some can stay submerged for an incredible 4.5 minutes. Of sharks, they have no fear, for sharks are rarely hungry in these well-stocked waters. And anyway, they pose no threat. For all you have to do to kill a shark, they say, is punch it on the nose, grab its tail, and give it 3 quick pulls. This forces water into its gills and drowns it. The women are out here as well, doing some food gathering of their own. Instead of spears, they often use hand lines, or their bare hands. And using bare hands can be a bold technique indeed, when your opponent is a well-armed octopus. It's no simple task arm wrestling an octopus, but the women know a trick that never fails. They turn its head inside out. The octopus is now quite dead, but its tentacles still grip tight. A convenience, really, for the women just let it cling there, leaving both their hands free for further fishing. And this is the most productive fishing method of all. The vine's a species known as walleye, to which coconut leaves have been attached. And the curious thing, the key to its effectiveness, is that fish are scared to swim beneath it, frightened perhaps by its unfamiliar shape. So all the villagers have to do is to slowly and silently encircle a large area of reef shallows. The frightened fish stay within the circle, which is gradually reduced in size. Afraid of the vine, unwilling to break out, they're effectively trapped. Then all of a sudden, an opening's made in the vines. The fish make a dash for freedom, only to find a net across the opening. Not all get caught. Some are ingeniously designed for escape. Others, like the poor old pufferfish, don't stand a chance. It's always exciting, a village fish drive. You never know what might turn up. For over 1,000 kinds of fish swim these waters, from the tiniest reef fish to giant barracudas and sharks. And even they sometimes turn up in the net. But today, one of the ladies has made the biggest catch ever. A very special dawn. They have reached the 180th parallel, where the sun first rises on each new calendar day. And dead ahead lies Journey's End, the island of Taveuni, clothed in literally millions of coconut trees that thrive on its rich volcanic soil. And here, two highlights of their trip await them. One reserved for Hillary, and one for the younger members of the party. For them, simply nothing they have done so far, not the rubber rafting, the bamboo rafting, the cave exploring, or the coconut tree climbing, could possibly match the sheer joy of this natural water slide. A mile away, the highlight of Hillary's journey. A final adventure before the journey's end.
If you take a real deep breath, you find it'll almost pump you up. Now, good thing. There you go.
He's never scuba dived before. He hasn't used artificial breathing apparatus since Everest.
You can get an awful lot out of it.
But below him, 70 feet below him, lies Rainbow Reef, home of some of the world's most beautiful soft coral. And Hillary's determined to go down there and see it for himself. miles above stands a great snow peak on whose summit Hillary stood some 30 years ago. Now at 64, at the opposite end of the Earth, he can rejoice that it's been his privilege to have experienced perhaps more richly than anyone the infinite beauty of our planet.